All right, back again. Third session.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. All right, what have you been thinking about since we spoke last? Based on our conversation
I
last
always
time.
get, I always get, I always get stuck with this because I always forget what did we talk about. Uh, God, this week's been a blur. Can you just recap me what we were talking about?
Yeah, so the big one that I think was or became top of mind.
My thoughts become my
Mhm.
reality.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes, definitely not been using the words. Um, what did I use again? Maybe I'm
Try.
trying. Trying, yeah. I've not been using that word. Um, yeah, I've not used that at all. I'm more mindful of what I say. It's
We're back.
so cold here. It's a joke, yeah.
How cold are we talking?
Oh, I have got the heat pump on, but it's a good like, I don't know, 3 degrees, 2 degrees. Freezing.
It's not really hot where you live. That's a con.
I know it's not. Well, don't live in Australia.
Yeah, fair. Um, okay.
So yeah, both because of my reality, been more mindful of what I say, what words
Mm.
I what I say, yeah. Yeah.
And would you say that that's had any meaningful impact?
Yeah, it definitely has meaningful impact because whether it was a joking manner, what I was
Mm.
saying or not, like obviously has an impact on the other person. So
Mm.
yeah.
And can you, I guess, from your own perspective, can you see how if you're showing up like that in your own mind, it's going to be easier to think those things for real unconsciously as time goes
Mm,
on? Okay.
yeah.
Um, okay. So I mean, simply because I follow you on Instagram, I kind of have a at least semi understanding of like what you've been up to. Uh,
This weekend.
how was your fake wedding?
Fantastic. It was really good. I love doing anything like that. So that was really cool. And it was good that we did it with Alex.
Mm,
He wasn't initially meant to be like the pretend husband in the photo shoot, but the guy that was actually meant to be doing it, who's also married, was like really nervous. So I said to the girl who was like organising it, I was like, well, about let's just get Alex to do it, it'll be fine. And I asked Alex, he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And it actually worked out really well.
so it's an interesting dynamic, right? Like obviously you are married and you've already gotten married, right? But
Yeah.
you kind of got to like replay the fantasy of getting married again.
Yeah. And
How
then
was that?
Alex just said the next day, he was like, oh, he was like, well, good morning, wife version 2. It was really nice. I always said that we just soak it up and like get actually wedding photos, and it was at a really nice venue, and it was all our photos were with the kids. So
Mm.
yeah, it was actually really nice to actually have some wedding photos done that we can just pretend that it was our wedding.
'Cause I remember seeing that and I was like, that's come at such an interesting time
Yeah,
because
I know, but then it worked out so well.
right, because most people get married and then, and a friend of mine was saying this to me that their plan is not to do well then and they didn't. They ended up eloping, but they knew they were gonna elope and they were like, it's so common that people say, "Oh, like I wish this person in my life was at my wedding, but I met them
Mm,
after we got married." And in
mm,
your case, you've had 3 amazing kids, and obviously
mm,
you want to celebrate the biggest day of your, life as a couple with your kids, but most people can't because they don't exist yet. So
yeah.
now you did, right?
Yeah.
You're also both doing a lot of like internal work, and you've obviously changed massively over the last 10 years since you got
Mhm.
married.
Yeah.
So from like and I guess this is a very, I guess, metaphorical question, but since you had this obviously marriage photo shoot, it's not, you didn't get
Yeah.
remarried, right?
Yeah, correct.
But in your mind, is this the start of a new chapter of married
Oh,
life?
yeah, it definitely, like, rebirthed us both from like, it was definitely, like, a good, like, fresh start. I don't know
Mm,
how to but I know what you mean. It was
mm,
definitely there was definitely a shift.
okay. In what
Positive
sense?
way, yeah.
In what sense?
Like, just, at a wedding photo shoot, obviously, and then just yeah, just reminding each other, like, obviously we do love each other,
Mm,
like, just, like, brings it all back, doesn't it, back to the beginning?
okay. Explain that a
Don't know how to.
bit.
Um,
All right, wait. I'm gonna stop you there. Just on the words create your reality bit.
oh, yeah.
I don't know how to, or I don't know, is a very common thing that like all of my clients say when I ask them to essentially describe their feelings. It like don't think that you're doing anything atypical. You're not. Like
No,
everyone
no,
does.
I don't know, but I don't know if it's because of that. I don't know if it's because the question that's how it's been asked.
Mm,
Like, I actually don't know how to elaborate
mm.
further on it.
Okay. So this is exactly what I'm about to explain.
Okay.
There are from, and this is a test of my fucking like knowledge and memory at 8:30 in the morning, which is not when I would like to be tested on this, but here we are. Um, from memory, I think there are either 6 or 7 universal emotions,
Mhm,
and that tracks across time, culture, geography, you name it, right? Uh, fear, sadness, anger, happiness, contempt, uh, disgust, I think the 6, and if there's a 7th, I'm forgetting it. But all of those, despite you may not being able to actively describe what that looks like or feels like in the body, that those are universal to all human beings.
mhm,
Well, there's a finite number of them, right? So, like, even if you don't really know what it is, based on a bunch of other factors that aren't relevant to discussion, um, we know that those exist.
yeah,
When people say, I don't know, to a question like that, what is more likely from the work that I've done is that you've never learned either how to process and then describe those things, or
mhm,
the act of describing them, or, you know, delving deeper into what that means or what that looks like or what that feels like, etc., 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 is
mhm,
a little bit weird and awkward and anxiety inducing because you've never done it before. You've never had an option to do it where, there wasn't potentially the fear of your emotions or feelings or whatever being accepted for just what they are. So the
mm,
challenge I give to people is I think you do know how to do it insofar as there are only a finite number of human emotions. You
mm,
have a good enough grasp of the English language, even though you're from up north, that means that you can, if you were, gun to your head, told you need to describe how you feel, you could probably string it together. But it's just a bit weird and strange because it's never really been an option for you to do it in a way that feels normal to you. So anytime you say, I don't know, I'm going to challenge you and say, I think you do know. I think it's just weird and awkward and you haven't done it before. And that's okay.
I don't think it's weird and awkward. I think, yeah, maybe I just don't know how to, perhaps.
Perfect. And that is a solvable problem, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, and this is the example that I use to kind of like nail this down. Let's say we go to the beach, right?
Mhm,
And I ask you, how many types of shell are there, like, on the beach, right? The
mm,
answer to that is I don't know
don't
because
know.
I don't think most people know, right? But could you, with the help of Google or ChatGPT or whatever, find out based on the beach that you're on, the country that you're in, the time of year, the fucking high tide or low tide, whatever, right? Could you find out how many types of shell there are likely to be on this beach? Probably, right? It is a question that
Mm,
you can find the answer to, but you need to research it. You just don't presently know. But with a bit
mhm,
of research, you can find out the answer to it, or at least an
yeah,
approximation of it, right?
yeah,
Your feelings are the exact same way. They exist, they are real, they are present. There are only a finite fixed number of them. So this
yeah,
is not an I don't know, i.e., you could never know. It is simply a
mm,
how do we show you how to do the research so that you do understand which ones they are and how to explain them and how to describe them and how to process them, right? So this is not an I don't know, or if you do want to say I don't know yet. I don't know how I'm feeling yet. And that tiny little language change, it goes from, well, I just don't know how I feel, and like your brain kind of turning off and saying, well,
mm,
fuck off. I don't care. I don't know how I feel. That's the end of it. To, I
mhm,
don't know how I feel yet because I haven't thought about it. And when I think about
mhm,
it, I will then know. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay, great. So when you think about this idea of the new rebirth of your relationship, and you do love each other,
yeah,
and you're building upon what you have,
mhm.
what makes that the almost the start of this new chapter? What about that is exciting?
What about it was exciting? New chapter. Mm, I think just the day was just exciting, just like not having any kids there and things. Don't really think I can pinpoint.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, thinking about it within the context of your marriage, right? So, like, you and Alex are both doing a lot of internal work now. You're going couples therapy. You're
mm,
doing the whole thing, right?
mhm,
I know the one thing that we haven't really touched on yet is your business, and we will. But this is kind of all it's all kind of like coming together, which is nice. Um,
yeah,
when you look at like what you want out of your marriage, if I could
mhm.
say, and I know that we very briefly at the end of last week kind of alluded to it, what would the perfect marriage look like in your mind?
Oh yeah, I still haven't really thought about that actually again. Um,
But again, right? Look,
yeah,
just in that moment, the last time I asked you that, you said, "Oh, I don't even know what that would look like." But
mm,
just from that switch, you were like, "I don't know, I've never really thought about it," and that is a different issue, right?
mhm,
I've never thought about it means what can you do? You can think about it.
yeah,
And then you can come to a conclusion, and then you can be like, yeah, I do have an answer for this after I think about it, versus
yeah,
I don't know, which is kind of quite final.
correct, yeah.
Okay, great. So then let's think about it. Let's think about it aloud. What does the ideal marriage in your mind look like for you? This is not like a general concept of marriage. It's, your perfect marriage that you are in.
Yeah, just probably just more like open communication, just to both be on the same path with each other. Um, like no, I mean, no marriage is straightforward, but like less of the rocking boat, you know?
Okay. When you say rocking boat, what do you mean by that?
Or just like the ups and downs. Like at the moment we're in therapy and like, I can't wait for this to like just be a break from all that. Even though like it's obviously all learning.
Mm,
So like it's just taking forever.
mm,
I feel like we've just like hit a rock. I feel like the boat's hit a rock and it
mm,
just can't get past that rock right now. I'm
mm,
just looking forward to like not going into any more rocks and we can get to our destination free
mm.
flowing, you know?
Okay.
Um
So two elements of that, right? So first question,
yeah.
what is the rock that you're hitting?
Oh, just like obviously the rock we're hitting is obviously like just pausing, doing therapy, working on ourselves,
Mm,
doing things that we can change,
mm,
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
okay.
The rock's what we're in now,
Mm,
like like trying to progress and move forward.
mm. So it's interesting that that's how you describe the process that you're in now. So one thing that I do a lot with clients is what I call a lexical analysis, right? So I'll look at the words that you use and the context you use them and like what those words actually mean, right?
Mhm.
Well, if you're on, as you've used the word destination, right? And path and essentially journey, right? That's kind of what we're alluding
Yeah,
to.
journey. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, then a rock is something that stops progress, right? Especially within the context of boats. Rocks are what sink boats.
Mm.
But if all of the stuff that you're doing is aimed at, essentially getting you on the right path, getting you, towards, as you said, the destination, and this is required to get you to the destination, what makes it a rock?
No, it doesn't have. Well, yeah, rock, sand. I don't know. I'm swaying off to the shore. I don't know. Just what just came into my head at the time.
But
There was
what
no.
comes into your head at the time is exactly how you feel about it, right?
Yeah.
Like the way that we use language is how we perceive things. And one of the most common things that people say when I do stuff like this little lexical analysis is, oh, but I didn't mean that. Well, then why did you say it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? So, okay, let's assume then that you use the word rock for a reason. What would that reason
Mhm.
be? Well, if if you do feel like kind of progress has stopped, right? Or there is some kind of barrier or hurdle that you are trying to jump over,
Mhm.
in your mind, what is the biggest limitation that if I was a magic genie magic wand and I could just bink get rid of it, what would it be? What is the hurdle that you are currently trying to get over that if you did, you would be able to get to, as you phrased it, the destination?
Oh, like just coming out of like therapy and like knowing that oh we've like progressed on that kind of stuff.
So if you were no longer in therapy, it'd be like, cool, done.
Yeah, I would like to think that,
Mm,
like we've learnt stuff and we've worked on lots of things, you know?
okay. Let me ask you this. When you let's step out of like the therapy inner work bit and let's look at it from a different perspective. Um, as you understand it from right now, explain to me the business model of a personal therapist, personal trainer.
So ask that question again.
Explain to me as you understand it the business model of a personal trainer. How do they make money?
How do they make money?
Mhm.
But go and work
So
in a gym
uh-huh.
and they'll either be contracted to the gym to like
Mhm.
help other people or they
Yep.
will be like subcontractors and just go in and just get their own clientele and
Perfect.
train them. Yeah.
Great. So when they get a client, let's say that they're working with someone who's particularly overweight.
Mhm.
What is the most effective mechanism for them to make money with that person that is severely overweight? Is it to have them lose all the weight in the shortest amount of time possible?
No.
Why?
Say that again? Is it so what?
Is it to make that person lose as much weight as humanly possible in the shortest amount of time, or is it something else?
Well, not in the it depends on how big they are, 'cause that would be unrealistic. Depends on how I don't know. Depends on
Okay.
how hard they wanna go.
Okay. What if I told you that a personal trainer's entire basis for making money was to keep that person coming back to the personal trainer for as long as humanly possible? Because otherwise
Yeah.
they lose the client, right? And if they lose
Clientele,
the
yeah.
client, they lose the revenue. Well, then it's not about speed and efficiency, it's about keeping the client coming back.
Mhm,
Well, if we apply that same logic to therapy, right? Couples therapy, for example,
mhm.
is the goal to fix big air quotes your relationship as fast as humanly possible, or is it to keep you in couples therapy? Because when your relationship is done, it's finished, it's good, you're plain sailing, are you going to keep paying the therapist?
No.
Well, then why do they have any incentive to let you go?
Well, that would just be like a conversation that you have as, like, me and Alex would have, wouldn't we? Like, if we felt like, I don't know,
You've made
uh
progress, you kind of got what you
yeah,
need out of it, right?
got her for now, and then obviously if something else came up, then obviously it would go back straight back again, but I don't personally wanna be doing therapy every week. Oh,
Right. But the business model of the therapist is to absolutely keep you going forever, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So when you frame this idea in your head of, well, I want to be done with therapy and like that's the goal. The goal I'm trying to achieve is like having a clean bill of health from the couples therapist.
Yeah.
You and them are at complete like conflict because you want to get out as fast as humanly possible and they want to keep you in for as long as humanly possible.
No, I don't wanna get out as fast as possible.
But you want to
Like,
be, done with it, right?
I wanna be like, yeah, I want, like, the end, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, right,
But
because you would.
that's also just that's just how my brain obviously that's how I work. I'm like, "Okay, we're done. That's a chapter done now, on to the next
Yeah,
chapter."
yeah. The unfortunate issue you will find yourself in
Yeah.
is if you view this as something that is a box that needs to be ticked off, you will look at this like the end can't come fast enough, and that this is a roadblock, which is kind of how you described it, right? It's the stone that you are trying to, get over or whatever.
Mm.
Until this is done, we can't get on with the rest of it, which is happy married life.
That last sentence, yes,
Okay.
I believe. But
If
the
that is
rest of it,
true,
no.
if that is true, that you can't get on with happy married life until you're out of therapy.
Not like get on with happy married life, but like, 'cause of like, I don't know, how do I explain it? Like, you constantly get reminded in therapy for, like, things or, like, you like
Mm.
it's like, how do you, like, even yeah, it's like, I don't wanna like, I wanna just move forward, don't wanna get constantly reminded of the past or how he's been or how I've been or whatever.
Like you're being policed.
No, not really.
Then when you say you're reminded of the past or whatever it may be, like what is that?
No, like, if, like, therapists, like, obviously you bring up things and then, like, things all I don't really know what I'm trying to say, to be honest with you, David. I don't really know. But no, I don't feel like I'm trying to be police, no.
Okay.
Just like I just like to see the end goal of things, that's all.
Hmm. The end goal of therapy is happy married life, right?
Yeah, let's go with that, yeah.
Okay. If it's not that, what is it in your mind for
No,
you?
no, nothing that's nothing that I think it is. I don't really know how else I would explain it, but yeah, let's go with that. Happy married life.
Okay. Are you would you describe your current situation as happy married life, or would you say that your current married life is not, essentially where you want it to be? It is, for all intents and purposes, something that needs to be worked on.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that needs to be worked on, correct, yeah.
Interesting phrase, right? And I introduced it to you, so I'm not telling you that, like, this is one, how you feel, or two, that, like, this is how the inner machinations of your brain are working. But
Yeah.
if you can agree with it, then there is something within that idea. Well, you only work on stuff that's broken, right?
Mhm.
If your car didn't need work on it, it's probably working as intended, yeah?
Yeah. Well, when you say, like, broken, I don't see, like, broken as in, like, divorce.
Okay.
I just feel like it just needs a bit of, like, an MLT check, you know?
Needs a bit of a tune-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not like we're in this because one of us is ready to leave or
Mm,
one of us has been deceitful, like, none of that. It's just
mm,
literally, like, an MLT check.
okay.
That's how I see it anyway. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure I'd like to think that he thinks the same. But yeah, I think MLT check.
Okay, cool. If that is the case, then there
Mhm.
is at least a part of how you perceive your relationship to be, let's say, less than satisfactory versus where it could be or wants to be, right?
Yeah.
The problem that you will run into is, if that is how you perceive your relationship at present, then that becomes, your words become your reality, right? That
Mhm.
becomes how the lens that you view your relationship through. It is not, it is being fixed. It's not, it's being mended, but it is, someone is basically looking at using the car metaphor, like, it's looking at all of the bits within it and going, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right, which
Yeah.
inevitably, I think for most people, you would kind of just be like, all right, fucking, I'll get on with it. Like, I just want to get to the end of it.
Mm.
It's a pain in the ass.
Mm.
But it's not being framed in your mind as like a process that you are going through. It's not like, caterpillars turning to butterflies, right?
No, and it's not a pain in the ass. It's not like, yeah, it's not a burden.
Mm,
I do see it as like a positive way, you
mm.
know? But yeah, there's not one part of it that I think it's a negative thing at all, or
But
that
you
I've
do
been
want it
dragged
to be
to.
done. You want it to
Yeah,
be
but
over.
I do, yeah, 100%.
Okay. What if you could reframe your idea of therapy? What if it
I
was
don't
not,
think it's but I don't think that it's a negative, so how do I reframe that even better?
what if therapy was, instead of an MOT, what if, I'm trying to think of another analogy that would be like more conducive to the point that I'm trying to make. Um, I mean, this is a stupid one, but it's the first one that popped into my head, and I don't really know why it popped into my head, which is stranger. Um, let's say that for your entire life, you painted your own nails,
Mhm,
right? And then one day you decide that you want to go to a nail salon and have your nails painted for you. And the
mhm,
first time you go, whichever, at least in England, I don't know how it is in New Zealand, but the vast majority of nail techs in the UK are Vietnamese.
oh, yeah, same here.
Okay, great. And the first time you go there, the little old Vietnamese lady who speaks maybe 100 words of English starts shouting and screaming at you about the state of your nails and how unhealthy they are and how they're chipped,
Yeah,
cracked, whatever the fuck, right? And it's deeply uncomfortable.
mhm,
But then she does your nails and you're like, fuck me, these look amazing. This was worth the
mhm,
pain and struggle, right?
mhm,
Is it worth going back knowing that the same thing is probably going to happen again, where she again tells you how badly your hands are in, like what terrible shape your fingernails are in? Oh my God, you've chipped them, you've done this, you've done that, and then fixes it and it becomes a beautiful thing afterwards. Yes, right?
yeah,
Because comparably, the nails that you get when she does them for you versus when you do them yourself are infinitely better.
yeah,
Okay. what if you going to counseling and doing all of this stuff in order to essentially have a better outlook and a better relationship on the back end of it was not something that you had to, you know, get through. It wasn't something that you were like, oh, I just want this to be over. What if you could learn to enjoy the process of it, even though it was uncomfortable, even though it felt a bit like, oh, we just need to get over this and then it'll be done and then we'll.
No, because I do feel like I am enjoying the process.
Okay. But you view it as a barrier. That's the thing that I'm trying to get
No,
right.
I don't. Like, I do, like, I don't want to be sat on therapy for 12 months.
Okay.
No,
How
I
come?
just don't. Reality of it, I don't, because I just don't. If
Okay.
we're still in therapy in 12 months' time, like, we haven't learnt.
Mm.
So what's still like red flags that keep coming up, in my opinion.
Mm. Got it.
So no, I don't want to be sassy in 12 months' time, going through therapy still, and the topics are still getting brought up. You still things are still continuing that have been continuing. Like
When does it stop?
when does it stop?
Mm. If you were still in therapy in 12 months, would you think that there is something broken?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. If if the next time you went to therapy,
Mhm.
your therapist said, no, you know what? You're actually all good. You're fine. You're sorted. Your relationship's perfect. Go on off your fuck. What would your response be?
Fucking
Buzzing, right?
fantastic.
Buzzing, right? Yeah. If that happened and you knew in your heart of hearts that actually there was a bunch of other stuff that hadn't been worked on, that hadn't been fixed, that wasn't resolved in the way that you wanted it to be, would you stop going to therapy?
Yeah, but I wouldn't expect her to say that.
I'm
Some
saying
people
under the
Oh, right,
hypothetical that she
okay.
did. Yeah,
All
under
right,
the
okay.
hypothetical that she did.
Sorry, ask that question again?
Hypothetically, the next time you both go to couples therapy, your therapist says, clean bill of health, you're all good, your relationship is perfect, congratulations, you've cracked it, well done, you're well on your way, off you fuck, away you go.
Yeah.
If you know in your heart of hearts that there's still stuff that isn't resolved in the way that you
Mhm.
want, you haven't gotten to, as you said, past whatever hurdle you are currently in, the same stuff's coming up, yada, yada, whatever. Do you
Yeah.
still say, I want to be in therapy? If the therapist has
Yeah.
said, no, you're done.
Oh, yeah, I would, yeah.
How come?
But I'd be like, "Oh, hang on a minute." Something that, like but then that's also on me not for not like, if there was something that came up,
Mm,
that's on me for not being open.
mm, okay. The reason that I'm kind of going around the houses on this is what I'm trying to understand is in your mind, what is the what is the thing that you are trying to solve for? Because unless you know that, you have no basis of gauging progress, right? So like if we go back to how you described your ideal, you know, marriage,
Yeah.
open communication. Open
Mhm.
communication is kind of vague, right? It doesn't really tell you what it doesn't in when you said it to me, it doesn't really tell me what you want other than open communication. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? How does that show up? What is open communication in your mind, right? The
So,
next
like,
thing
if something happened, like, say Alex was pissed off at me about something,
Mhm,
like, to tell me, like, there and then and squash it that day,
okay.
rather than, like, lingering and lingering and lingering till then it causes an issue, you overthink things, and it just turns out to be a lot bigger than what it is.
Mhm,
Um, so that's what I mean, like, if there was more communication, not that there isn't, but if there was better communication within our marriage
mhm,
and better boundaries set, let's say, then, you know, we wouldn't be in this situation as
mhm.
deeply. I think I'm pretty sure he'll agree with that too.
Okay, great. Have you actively talked about boundaries, what better communication looks like, what more communication looks like, cadence? How regularly, when, etc. as a couple?
No, not right now because we've been in therapy, so no, we haven't spoke about
Mm,
any of that.
okay. Well, the remember what we said last time about, words creating your reality? More and better are incredibly vague, right? If you technically, given what you just told me, have one more conversation about, talking about your feelings more, you are technically, you have achieved more communication. But that's not what you actually want, right? If you have one more conversation, then that's it. You never talk about it again. You technically have achieved more communication because you did it one more time than you had previously. So more is not helpful. Better is also
What did
unhelpful.
I say?
You said more. You said more and better communication. And the
Oh,
problem with
I
more,
didn't even realize I said that. No.
problem with more is like, for example, have you ever either thought or said, "I want more money. I wish we had more money."
No.
Okay, most people have thought that in their lives. "I wish I had more money." Right?
Mhm.
Well, if I give you a fiver, you would at that point have more money,
More
right?
money. Yeah. Mhm.
And then if I say, "Well, okay, cool, that's it. You get no more money. That's it. You're done. There's your extra £5." The instinctive response from most people is, "Oh, but I didn't mean that. Like, I want more money." And then it's a question of, okay, well, how much more?
Much. Yeah.
Bingo. Same issue within this element of communication. When you say, "I want more communication," what does that actually look like? Does that mean that you sit down every week for an hour and it's like, "Hey, I want to do like a weekly debrief," and we have it on that weekly cadence? Great. Now you actually have something that is concrete and tangible that you can say, "This is what I need when I say more," right?
Mm. Yeah.
Better doesn't have a standard associated to it. Better compared to what? Better compared to insert thing here, right? There's no comparison
Mm.
set for your mind to know what is better. Yeah. Because
Mm.
better compared to now, if it's 1% better, is that what you
Mm.
actually want? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
You want it markedly better. Okay, well, what does markedly better look like? You've got to sit down and
Mm.
define those things because otherwise, to your point, it will feel like you are stuck and you're not going anywhere,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So if you look at just that and that alone, right? The idea of you want the exact phrase that you used originally was open communication. And now that we've kind of prodded and poked a bit, it's now turned into more and better communication. Okay, cool. Well, if we prod and poke a bit more communication looks like what in your mind? If you could, again, magic genie, magic wand, you just get to create this.
Yeah, it's just more if when we, like, have conversations or things are bugging each other, then we just talk whilst there and they get there and then
Okay, great. So one of the tenets of more, then we can say is when stuff is bothering us, we bring it up on
yeah.
the day.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So long as you can both agree to that and you actually do it, which is obviously the harder part. If you know that
Mhm.
that is the fact, that is the rule in the family, right? That is the rule in our
Mhm.
marriage. Is when stuff's pissing us off, we talk about it on the day, and you both
Mhm.
agree to that. You get more communication, right?
Yeah.
Done. If that starts actually appearing in your marriage,
Yeah.
congratulations, you now have, without a shadow of a doubt, more communication.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Use that same logic. What does better look like?
Yeah, I didn't really actually mean to say better. It was probably more. I
is
wouldn't know
is is it
how
more
to explain
important
what
that
better
it
is.
is frequent or deeper? Deeper in my mind in this context would be like, like I mentioned, right? Like a weekly debrief on everything that's happened and all of the feelings and all the thoughts and everything that's been going on and whatever.
No, no,
I watch you go, "Oh, bloody hell, I don't want to deal with that."
don't do that. Um, deeply or
is it a case of more frequent, as we said, like literally it happens more
Oh, yeah,
often, or the depth of those conversations is greater?
frequent.
Okay, great. So then actually to the point that you made, better, not really that important, more important.
Yeah,
Okay, great. So have that conversation with Alex.
yeah.
And and you can blame it on me, right? Literally just blame it on me.
That's
Say to him,
alright.
be like,
Oh, happy
hey,
to.
I'm working on something with David, and
Yeah.
as part of like us, growing in our marriage, I want to
Mhm.
set like a new standard. Whenever something's bugging us, I want us to solve it
Mhm.
on the
Yeah.
day. Okay.
Yeah.
At that point, will you feel like you are getting better and progressing within your marriage?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Okay. The next thing that you brought up was being on the same path. What does that mean?
Be on the same page. Okay, for example, we have like I've got a really close friend that was a bridesmaid at my wedding, but
Hmm.
like her and her partner, husband, just say, are just on the same page.
Mm.
And like we've got another couple that are also like on the same page.
Hmm.
I can't explain it. Do you know when you just meet people and like you're like, "Ugh, like how are you two like so synced?"
Hmm. So
Can't
then,
I don't know how to explain it.
yeah, it it
'Cause you
it,
don't
it
come across many of those people.
I would agree with that. I also think it's difficult to describe other people's relationship. You can kind of just see it and feel it, right?
Correct.
But then when you try and replicate it and you try and like pull the nuance out of it, it becomes quite difficult to actually understand why that works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, great.
100%. Unless
So
you,
then,
like, ask them, which we
yeah,
have.
right. Let's just put a pin in that idea for a second, right?
Okay.
In your mind, based on you as a person, don't think about Alex, don't think about your relationship. Think about you as a person. If you could go to, build a bloke workshop and you could create your perfect partner from the ground up, and as a result, he would be on the same page as you, what does that look like?
Mm, no. There's nothing, like, I'd actually change of him,
Hmm.
but, like, I'm not sure.
So do you see how you're giving both yourself and him an impossible task? You're
Because
you're looking.
we've had this discussion too, because and we're like, "How, like, yeah, we chat about this as well, because 'cause we're like, "How?" Yeah, I don't know, I don't have the answer to that right now,
Mhm.
to be honest.
'Cause if you've never defined what that looks like in your mind, but you know it's a feeling, right? And you can see it in other people, but you can't see it in your own marriage. And then when
Yeah, but then
you
when I also look at all those people that we know that are like that, none of them have, like, any financial stress.
Mhm.
Oh, they might do, but
You just don't know about it, yeah.
yeah, but they're pretty good with the money, or
Mhm.
they've, like, put the money in good places, for example.
Mhm.
So, like, when I look at those people, I'm just like, well, sometimes not that we're stressed over money because we're not. We're actually fine. We might not have anything, but we're actually fine. He said, but then you look at someone who, like, doesn't have perceived that they don't have any money stresses. I
Mm.
think that also comes with happiness in your marriage.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
So I think that's, I actually thought about this the other day, actually, this was on Friday, actually. Thought about this same topic. So I was talking to a friend, and then the other friend said, "Oh," because I voiced to set that same thing too to the friend, and she was like, "I was about to say the same thing. That is probably like why they're so locked in, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if locked in is the right word, but."
I mean, I think that that's probably the thing that is the most front of mind, right? I don't know necessarily whether I would describe people whose financial situations are, let's say, more secure as more intrinsically on the same page. I think it just
Mm.
is. It probably reduces the amount of
To the
general
stress.
friction. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
probably
I
just
agree.
less friction generally, which makes it
And I
seem like they
think,
are on the whole happier.
yeah, and I think that's what it is.
Okay,
Like on observation, now actually speaking out loud, that's probably what it is.
here's my pushback to that.
Okay.
In your mind, you don't see your financial situation as necessarily an issue or a stressor.
Yeah, and when I mean it's not a stressor, I mean I'm not gonna lose our house, we can pay
Mm,
our rent, we've got everything
mm,
that we need
mm. You're at
to
kind of like
get by.
base levels of like survival.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
Got it.
So that's why I never say, "Oh, I want more money," because I do have everything that I need right now. Everything on top of that is a luxury.
Mm, that's interesting.
What is?
Well, I mean, in your mind, true or not,
Mhm.
the couples that you know that are, let's say, more financially stable, secure, whatever
Yeah.
word you want to describe it as, they're the ones
Yeah.
who are on the same page. That is the goal that you want to achieve, right? Based on, the idea of
Yeah.
being on the same
Yeah,
page,
yeah,
right?
yeah. On the same page,
On the
yeah.
same page. Well, we've boiled that down to some level financial security. Yeah.
Yeah, from what we know. And
From
then,
what we know.
yeah, obviously we've spoken to one of the couples, yeah, because Alex
Right.
just couldn't get his head around it.
Right. Well, then simultaneously, you internally are saying, well, I don't need any more money to be happy. We have enough. And anything more than that is a luxury.
Mhm.
So your current understanding of your financial situation is here. Your idealistic understanding of your financial situation is here. The thing that you actually want, which is being on the same page, is incongruent with your current idea about how much money you need to have. Because if you had that much money, it would be a luxury and you don't need it. But that is the thing that is holding you back from the relationship that you theoretically want based on our understanding of what is true. So you find yourself now in a pickle because either you want no more money and you're happy with where you're at and you don't need any more money,
Mhm.
or you want the being on the same page as the other couples that you see who are more financially secure than you. Well, which one is it?
So, yeah, I don't it's probably still option 1.
So you would still rather have less money than more money.
I'm not saying like not saying like less or more, just yeah, we'll go with that one.
Okay. How come?
Because I don't really think that I don't know. I think it changes it still doesn't change like underlying issues, hence to why we're in therapy, for example.
Hmm.
I mean, they could have their own issues. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think most couples have their issues. I don't think that's a. I don't think the moment that you become financially secure, your interpersonal problems disappear. But I think it's interesting that let's kind of remove the comparison between you and the other couples.
Mm, mhm.
I still think that it's interesting in and of itself that you would prefer less money than more money. What is it about having more money in your mind that is like, oh, I don't know if I want that.
No, it's not I don't want it.
Hmm.
I'm just happy with where we are. If we have more money, we have more money. If we don't, we don't.
Got it. So this is more about an acceptance of the current situation versus a desire or a longing for,
Yeah, 100%.
I would be happier if we had more money.
Yeah, 100%.
Got it. Okay. Understood. But can you see how that will create dissonance in your own mind where you're entirely happy now? And if you had more, great. If you don't, it is what it is. Versus the examples of the couples that you see around you who are financially secure. And in your mind, you're like, they have something we don't. And I want that thing.
Yeah, nah, no. Because I never once look at them and think, God, I wish I had your life. Never
Agreed.
once. I don't think I've ever thought about that about anyone's life, actually.
So then where does the same path, the same page, this whole how do you square this circle? Because there is something that you're looking at in these other people's relationships that you look at your own and say that's not where we are.
No, I think they just got really good open communication
And we're back to
just
open
from knowing
communication.
my other friend. Yeah, just from my friend. Because basically I said to her one day, I was like, I never hear you complain about Adam once.
Mm,
I never hear it.
mm,
And we've been friends for, oh God, for as long as I've been here. I was like, I've never heard you like say anything about Adam. And I was like, do you guys ever argue?
mm,
She was like, no, not really. She said, don't get me wrong, when we were like younger, because I've been friends since school and been together since school.
mm,
Like, when we were younger, yeah, obviously, she kissed a boy and whatever, whatever. She was like, well, when we was younger, absolutely. She said, but now, like, we're just like, if there's ever an issue, it could be about anything. Like, he give the kid bottle of formula when she was out and
mm,
she's breastfeeding, think like little silly shit like that.
mm,
Well, I think it's silly, but it was serious for her. And they just squash it there and then. They say, "Hey, this is not making me feel good. This is how I'm feeling. This wasn't very good at what you
mm,
did." They
mm,
both apologize, and they just squash it and then just move forward.
mhm,
Um, but she just said that like Adam's got a really good understanding of like what things that actually like either make her unhappy or what she wouldn't like, and
mhm,
she's very respectful of that, vice versa.
mm,
So they never trip each other up.
mm. Got it. Okay. So if you had to clone that in your own marriage, how would you do it?
If I had to clone it, copy it. Um, yeah, it would be obviously back to like saying things how you feel on the spot, um, and being more mindful of the things that you do, how it impacted the person.
Mm, okay. Is that something that you can institute within your marriage immediately?
Yeah, and I feel like I do that anyway, but yeah.
Okay. Something else that you mentioned within that same context was your friend basically never says a bad word about her husband. You said that you've never heard her complain about him ever, right?
Yeah, never.
Okay. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. I'm going to ask a pointed question. How often do you complain about Alex to your friends?
Oh, don't get me wrong, don't say it to all like my full friend group, but I will like chat to Annie and I will say, "Oh
Mm,
God, this has happened," or
mhm,
yeah, for sure, yeah, because she's my best friend, so obviously I vent to her and tell her what things are happening. Yeah.
okay. I want you to challenge that behavior.
So who do we talk to?
Your husband.
Oh yeah.
Your problems that exist in your relationship are within the four walls of your house. Because the moment you
But
are
sometimes
comfortable,
but sometimes the conversation has already been dealt with at home.
mhm, then drop it.
Okay.
If it's been dealt with, then drop it, right? Because think back to the conversation that we had, right? You are going to recreate those emotions through rumination.
Mm,
And if you're venting to a friend, what are you doing? You're recreating that emotional cycle. So if it's been solved at home, drop it. I'm
mm,
not suggesting that you can't go out and seek counsel, right? But that is seeking counsel to solve a problem, right? It's, hey, I need your perspective on this because I value your perspective, and your ability to deal with shit within your own relationship will be helpful for my own understanding within mine. But there's a
Mhm.
massive difference between that and fucking whinging,
Mm.
right? So, for example, who is the friend with the great relationship where they just solve shit there and then? Is that Annie or is that someone else?
Yeah, that's so yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Annie won't whinge to you about anything that her fella does, right?
Yeah,
Because
no,
they just handle
shouldn't.
it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, instead of whinging to Annie, approach her for counsel. Say, hey, I'm struggling with this in our relationship. This thing came up. If this was you and Annie's husband's name is what?
I need Adam.
Forget your best friend's husband name.
Because you said you asked that question so fast, I didn't know if you were saying what his wife's name was or
No,
her.
no, no.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm having this problem with Alex. How would you and Adam go about solving it if this was going on with you? Right? That's asking for counsel, right? You are asking her, how do I help? How do I replicate what you have, which is good, which I admire, which I like in my own marriage?
Mhm.
Versus, oh, fucking Alex pissed me off. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing whatever. Right. So
Mhm.
this is something that I have I hold very dear to me, and I think this is just good life and relationship advice. So I tell all of my
Mm.
friends this, and I also tell all my clients this. Nobody in the world outside of your partner who you are on a team with, who you are ideally in your mind on the same page with, knows
Mhm.
about the inner machinations of your relationship. Nobody. Why? Because it's not their
Mhm.
business. And nobody else's opinions, not counsel, but opinions, are going to be helpful and conducive in you actually making progress in your marriage, right?
Mhm.
Remember, right at the start, you told me that there was one of your friends who, her and her fella are at loggerheads all the time, and all they do is just complain about each other to their respective friends. And then
Who was?
lo and behold, they get divorced,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? Okay. Well,
yeah.
would you take marriage advice from that person? Now, obviously, their situations is different because he was a shithead, right? Not the point. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, if someone is in a dysfunctional relationship, are they more or less likely to give decent advice on relationships?
Oh, it's a tough question that because she's another one like who's like probably a best friend.
Hmm.
So I know that her opinion and she loves Alex a bit. It wouldn't be from a place of like bitterness
Mm-hmm.
or
100%. The point that I'm making
so I'm
is
very
that
mindful like if I did slag Alex off like I am not slag him off, but you know what I mean? I am mindful like who I go and tell.
mm, in what sense?
Like I'll only tell people like Jen and Annie.
Right. Why?
Because I don't let everyone know my business.
Right. Take that. Imagine if that's like level 5. I want you to take up to level 10, where like nobody knows your business. And the only time that you bring it up is if you are trying to actively solve a problem and you want someone's counsel on how do we get through this specific issue. Not, I'm annoyed and I
Mhm.
want to vent about the fact that I'm pissed off about my husband. Because I don't think that's conducive to you. And I also don't think it's conducive to other people to hear about dysfunction in other
Yeah,
people's relationships, right?
100%.
They don't have all the
Yeah, I
context, they
agree.
don't have the fucking basis of it, blah, 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 blah. They're not living in your shoes. They don't get it like you get it, right?
Yeah, true.
But asking for counsel on specific solvable problems, I think, is a great idea.
Mm,
So, my challenge to you now would be, how do you replicate the things that you love about someone else's relationship in your own, right? By the sounds of it, that's going to be open communication is the biggest one. Squash stuff on the
yeah.
day, right? And then if you had to replicate Annie and Adam's relationship and how they process stuff and what good looks like, literally
Mhm,
after this session, I want you to just spend 5-10 minutes just writing down what that looks like in your mind. And then go to Alex with it and be like, hey, I want to try solving problems in our relationship like this.
mhm.
because I think what your current approach with therapy and potentially why you're finding it so annoying and why you just want it to be done and over is that you can't see material progress fast enough.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be done and over.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't want it to be done fast enough.
You just want it to be done and it work, right?
Oh, yeah, after, let's say, like, 6 months, I'd like to think so, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, if you can see that you are progressing, that is going to give you more confidence that the thing is working, right?
Yeah,
Okay, great. So give yourself that.
yeah,
And if you can do that through little behavioral changes, then that's going to be the most evident element of your relationship progressing.
mm, mm,
That's your homework.
so
Spend 5-10 minutes with either a pen and paper or open up a Google Doc or whatever and just write out
yeah,
ideal world, how would we deal with stuff when it comes up? What do I need to do? What does Alex need to do? Blah 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 blah. When stuff comes up, how do we get past it? Right. So what you described to me was they're very transparent about how they feel about certain things. Hey, this thing happened. I didn't like it. This is how it made me feel. The other
mhm,
person says, yeah, you know what? I get that. My bad. There's an apology. And then you don't bring it up again and it's
mhm,
done. Right. Okay. Well, if that's the basic
mhm,
framework, okay, cool. What do we need in order to do that, right?
mhm,
How can we do that on a regular basis? Write that all
yeah,
down, pull it together, and then you have something that you can be like, okay, cool. I can now take this and implement it in my life and make it a functional aspect of your relationship and build it with your husband.
perfect.
Good. Easy.
Easy peasy.
Here's the
Easy peasy.
here's the other side of it, right? Because one thing that you said earlier was no marriage is straightforward.
Yeah.
Says who?
Excuse me?
Then it won't be. Correct. No marriage is straightforward, according to you. What if you didn't
Mhm.
say that? What if you said marriage was easy?
But when I mean, like, it's not straightforward, I mean, like, it's it's human nature to have bumps in the road.
Says who?
It's inevitable, like, you grow, you do things, you're a different person to you are, like, say, 10 years later. Things do come up, hence why we're in this situation now.
If you take that view, you are by definition assuming that marriage is hard, right? Stuff happens, stuff gets in the way, things change. The circumstances that we find ourselves in are different. We are different as people, and therefore it is inevitable that this difficulty has happened. Yeah.
Mhm,
That is the story, that is the narrative that you are telling yourself.
mhm,
Well, what if you didn't tell yourself that story? What if you viewed your marriage, open communication, the relationship that you want, what if you viewed it all as easy? How would you show up then? It would be effortless, right?
yeah,
Okay. Well, what if you did that? Would talking about your
mhm,
feelings and squashing stuff on the day, if you were working under the premise, the narrative that you were telling yourself was that your marriage is easy, would it be easy to also do those things? Yeah, 100% it would, right?
mhm,
You would just do them. You wouldn't think about it. You just do it because, well, yeah, I have the easiest marriage in the world.
mhm,
But when you see marriage as not straightforward and it's based on all of these other factors and life is hard and you just kind of have to, you have to suffer through it and you have to do the hard work and whatever else, all of those things become incredibly difficult to manage and plan for, right? Because you have to be cognizant of all of the stuff that's happened and this and that and the other. What if you viewed your marriage as easy?
yeah,
What if every morning you woke up and you said, I'm in the easiest marriage in the whole world? Nobody on the planet has an easier marriage than I do.
Hmm.
When you got into a spat for whatever reason, right? It could be as you said, like a little problem in your mind, which is like, you know, bottle feeding versus or formula feeding versus breastfeeding.
Mm.
If you viewed your marriage as easy, would you not immediately just go, hey, we talked about this, please don't give them the formula because whatever the reasons are, right?
Yeah.
If you viewed it as, oh, well, my marriage is, you know, it's a bit dicey at the moment, we're going to therapy, it's really hard, I should probably bring this up with the therapist because I didn't like it and blah 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 blah. Well, now you are in a difficult marriage by definition, right? Because now you have yet another problem that you need to deal with.
Well, yeah, well, it's like an example for so when on Friday, I didn't it wasn't an issue, like, it wasn't an
Mm,
issue to bring up, but Alex I went to this wedding first, and Alex messaged me saying, "Okay, I've just put Audra down for her morning sleep."
yeah.
And I was like, "She doesn't have a morning sleep."
Mm.
And I was like, "Are you joking?" And he was like, "Yasmin, she's in bed." And I was like, "Alex, she doesn't have a morning sleep, like, you know this?" And he's like, "Well, how long has she not had a morning sleep for?" I was like, "For the past 6 months." And then he rang me, and then he was like, "But she's in bed, like, what do I do?" I said, "You get her out of bed, she doesn't have a morning sleep." And he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." But I was, like, frustrated, but I was also just, like, not frustrated, like, on the phone, I was just like, "Come on, like, wake up, like, you know this." Like, same with her, like, she wanted he gave her formula so then she could have a good time out with her friends, and she was just starting his, like, breastfeeding journey with my Hugo, so didn't wanna break that bond.
Mm,
And, like, she's against formula, she just rather breastfeed. So, yeah,
mhm,
she was a bit miffed, and then, like, he never sterilised the bottle, he never put sterilised water in there. There's sort of things that he didn't do, but he thought he was being helpful.
mhm,
Um, and she said that she's, like, she knows that he never did that out of spite,
mm,
you know? But she was really pissed off because in her mind, she was like, "He should have known that I wouldn't tolerate him having taken the bottle."
mhm,
Especially going through, like, all the latch issues with the breastfeeding,
mhm,
so, yeah, there was but, yeah, he just one of them times he just didn't think.
uh-huh.
He thought he was doing the right thing and
So it's a perspective issue, right?
yes.
Okay, great. Take the same thing with Alex and Azra, right?
Yeah.
Did she die from having a morning nap?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Oh,
Is she
she
going to
didn't end up
suffer?
having one, he got her she got
Right. If she had had a morning nap, what would have been the resultant impact?
oh, it would've, like, cocked up the whole day, and then we had someone coming around minding Algebra, so then it just made the whole schedule iffy when it didn't need to be, especially when both parents wasn't gonna be home.
Mm. Would she have died?
Oh, she wouldn't have died, but she would have been cranky for my other friend, the friend that was coming to mind her, which wouldn't have been fair on her.
Agreed. But again, it's not the end of the world, right?
No, it's not the end of the world, but it's different. It would have been a different story if I was home or Alex was home all day.
Right.
Whatever, put her down, and then you just wake her up whenever.
Right.
But not when two parents aren't actually going to be there for the rest of the day.
Yeah. It adds on a bunch of other complexity for no reason.
Yeah, especially when we're like 30 minutes out of town. Like, I'm not going to be on my phone all day.
Yep. Extra complexity.
Yeah.
Did you do it out of malice or spite?
Oh, it was not out of spite, no, because he generally thought that she didn't
Yeah.
have morning
Just careless.
sleep. But I
Just
didn't
careless.
know. I just like, wow,
Just carelessness,
wow.
right?
We all live in the same house, and you're here every day. When when she had a morning sleep for so long.
Carelessness. It's essentially what it is,
Mm.
right? Okay. Can you choose to be pissed off about that? and construct a narrative around it. Absolutely.
No, I wasn't pissed off, though. I was just like, "Ugh," I was just frustrated, like, "Ugh, now I'm in the car, I'm away to this thing, you're asking me a question that you should already know."
Hmm.
It's just that level of like, "God, can I just leave the house for 5 minutes?"
Hmm.
You're the other parent, you know? But, yeah, I wasn't pissed off, I was just like, yeah, just frustrated, like, "God's sakes."
In that moment where you get into that situation, the
Mm,
instinctive response is frustration, right?
yeah,
Okay. In that moment where you have that instinctive response of frustration, remember 7 minutes. Once you've had your 7 minutes of being rightfully annoyed that your husband doesn't know your kid's schedule and he's not been conscious of, like, both of you being out of the house and your friend having to deal with someone that's going to be super cranky because she had a morning
mm,
nap and she never needed to and whatever else, right? Take your
mm.
7 minutes, be frustrated about it. And then you come back and you're like, hey, come on, dude. He hasn't
We
had
didn't
a day.
have time I didn't have time to have 7 minutes because he rang me.
Okay. Well, now that again, blame me. If he calls you and you're annoyed and you're in the middle of feeling your feelings, tell him, call me back in 10 minutes. I'm processing this. Leave me alone. And we're doing the same work. If you say to him, I need
Mhm,
my 7 minutes, and you can come back post those, I need my 7 minutes, right? If you can come back after that, and then at that point, because you've felt your feelings, you're done
mhm,
with being consumed by them, and now you are simply observing them, and you
mhm.
say, hey, look, that's annoying. She hasn't had a morning nap in 6 months. She's going to be pissed off all day. And we've got whoever is coming to mind her later. Like, be more mindful of your kids' schedules, please, especially knowing that neither of us are going to be in the house all day.
Yeah, so like, yeah.
Right. That's the open
Mhm,
communication that you want. That's what you
yeah,
want. Right. And it's
mhm,
way easier to do after you've had 7 minutes to process that frustration. But in
yeah,
the midst of it all, you're going to tell yourself, you're going to create the exact narrative that you told me,
mhm,
right? Oh, why don't you know this? You should know this. This is so annoying. You know that she doesn't have this. Now you're going to have, get her out of bed. Why aren't you doing this? I'm the other parent. You're the other parent. Figure it out. Blah, 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 blah. Right?
mhm.
Would you have reacted in the same way if you had 7 minutes to actually deal with and process that? I would hazard a guess and say probably not. I think you would have been
No.
way too chill, right? Because as a person, you're incredibly chill. But I think
Mhm,
during that little 7 minute window, you're just reacting to whatever is front of mind, which is, again, it's human, right? So, like,
mhm.
give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Give yourself the time to process it, and then come and have the thing that you want, open communication. Do that
Mm,
after you felt your feelings. Don't do it in the midst of
yeah.
it because you're
Yeah.
still figuring it
Not gonna
out.
end well.
Yeah, right? Like, there
Yeah.
are so many things that you can do to get the outcome that you want if you, one, define the outcome, and then two, like, understand how you are going to deal with, process, evolve through these feelings, right?
Mm,
So if you want open communication, great. Define what it is and then set it up and agree to it with your partner. Then know internally that if you try and, like, respond to what is going on with you in the moment before processing it, you're probably going to have a worse response than if you simply processed it. You are setting yourself up to succeed with the thing that you want, which is open communication.
mhm. Yeah.
The one thing that you said would annoy you with uh, couples counseling, couples therapy, whatever you want to call it, is if you were still
Mhm,
in the same spot 6 months later, right? You said to me that a lot of the stuff that you do as of right now, you feel like you're doing a good amount. You feel like you're doing the right things, right? I would challenge you then to be the model citizen within your marriage. Because if you know that this is something that you are better than Alex at, just at base point intuitively, then it unfortunately the buck does stop with you, because if you can be the model, then he's going to have something to model off, versus him managing to go from his current state of not being very good at it to being better than you and you catching up. It just is probably less likely to happen, right?
Yeah.
So cool, be the model. And if that means that in those moments where you are frustrated, for take the Azra nap situation, you say to him, hey, I need my 7 minutes. And he's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, just tell me what to do. And you're like, no, I love you. I'm taking 7 minutes. I will call you back. And you take 7 minutes. Why? Because you are creating this mechanism within your marriage of saying, this is how we work, so that we don't do the same shit that has got us into couples therapy. Right?
Oh my god, I can't wait to try this. Hopefully there's something this week so I can do that.
No.
I keep joking.
Do not cause problems in your marriage to give yourself opportunities to practice this. That is not what I want from you at all. That's the opposite of what I want. But no, be conscious of it, right? Give yourself 7 minutes, process it, then come back to the table and be like, hey, I want to talk about this. And if he's like, well, I don't have time now, be like, cool, we're going to talk about it this evening then. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're going to take you're going to take you 7 minutes. You may come back and the other person isn't able to talk about it. They're about to get on a call. They're about to go and do something. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. That's fine. You've already processed it now. And now you're not consumed by that emotion. You are simply observing it. And that's okay. And that means that you can go and talk about it objectively, rather than when you're in it, consumed by it, at any point. And if your internal rule within your marriage is, we deal with stuff on the day, we don't go to sleep pissed off, fantastic. Have a conversation in the evening. Right?
Yeah.
But when you have this notion that, like, you need to talk about stuff while it's happening, well, whether it's convenient for the other person is irrelevant at that point, right? Because it just needs to be done now, because I feel it and now we need to talk about it. Well, that's unhelpful, because if the other person is otherwise occupied or busy or frustrated or whatever they're feeling, all of that goes out the fucking window, because they now need to deal with your emotions. Well, unfortunately, it's your fucking job to deal with your emotions, because they're yours. In the same way, it's Alex's job to deal with Alex's emotions, right? Everyone has to deal with their own shit first. It's the same logic as when you're on a plane and they're like, put your own gas mask on before you deal with anyone else. Why?
Yeah.
Because you can't help other people if you're dead. So, same logic. Process your own emotions first. Give yourself the 7 minutes. And then say, okay, cool. I'm now ready to talk about this when you're ready to talk about it. And then there's your open communication.